Hello VC, YouTubers, welcome to my channel. Tony here. Tony's LPs Are Us. That's LPs Are Us, just like Toys R Us. So thanks for joining in. Hope you enjoy this little segment. Finally going to talk about my impressions of this box set. Got it last week, did an unboxing, did an announcement. Some people have reviewed it online. They talk about different aspects. I'll talk about a few channels that I think you should try to check out that are pretty cool, that actually went over the Jimmy Page and Black Crowes Live at the Greek Records box set. Here's the tracks. Really nice package. I'll talk about the packaging. I'll talk about what I think should have been included, what I don't like about the packaging, and we'll talk about the sound. And I'll tell you right off the bat, I'm not crazy about this record, but there is a silver lining, and I'll talk about that at the end. And it goes into what I don't like about the record is what I'm going to talk about as far as the silver lining goes. So we'll get right down to it. Here's the box set. Beautiful spine, 6 records. My records were flat. My records were dead black quiet. They're black vinyl. Dead quiet. Comes with a nice little poster, which I showed on the unboxing, Live at the Greek. Now, these recordings were actually recorded at the Greek in LA and also at Jones Beach in Long Island, New York. And I've been to Jones Beach. I actually saw Plant and Page with my partner in crime, Big John, partner in vinyl, that should be. Big John and I went. Not sure if anyone else went with us, but we had a great time. Got to see Page and Plant, which is like basically seeing a Zeppelin without, bass and drums. But the bass and drums that they had were just outstanding. They did the acoustic set. They did stuff from No Quarter, which I think should be re-released on album No Quarter. That CD they did a few years ago. It's probably 25 years old too. So here we have the back of the poster. Has the people in the band. Jimmy Page, obviously, needs no introduction. Chris Robinson, the vocals of Black Crowes. His brother, Rich Robinson, guitar, vocals. Rich does vocals on a few tracks. I'm going to go over some tracks, but I'm going to give you a website at the end. Actually, not a website, but a VC channel at the end that these guys do a great job on going blow by blow. They basically break down every song, I think, on these 36 tracks. We have Sean Pipin, I believe it is. I think it's kind of like calligraphy, so I don't know all the people in Black Crowes offhand. Eddie Harsh, Audrey Freed, and Steve Gorman, who we're going to talk about a lot about Steve Gorman, the drummer of the Black Crowes, later on. So here's the poster, really nice. And I'll show you how this flips out. This has the hype sticker. Hype sticker says 25th anniversary, 180 gram 6 LP box set from the legendary LA Greek shows. And this was actually recorded not just in LA, but at the... Doesn't break it down. That's one of my criticisms of this. It doesn't break down where the songs are from. I assume this version, the 6th album version, is in order as the songs progress, but I don't know that. 36 remixed and remastered tracks, and 16 never released before. They include a lot of Black Crow covers, a lot of Black Crow tunes that weren't released. Here you have a nice little, inside case, and the records come in here. Here's vinyl 5. Has the little sticker that's embedded in it. It says After Show Vinyl 5. Here are the tracks, and I'll go over those. This is vinyl 4. They call them vinyls. There's no nothing written on the spine, so when it's laid in the case, you cannot see what numbers there. It's not even numbered, which is a criticism. There's no liner notes in this, which I'll consider a criticism. Liner notes as far as some history of this, how it was remixed, how they reimagined it. This was remixed from the original 2 CD and 3 CD and vinyl set that came out in 2000. And I believe a longer version came out maybe later in 2003 CD set. Originally, it was a two CD set, and I did listen to that set when I want to do an A/B with this. I don't have the vinyl, but I do have the CD, and I also listened to some of it on YouTube using Bluetooth and a pretty good JBL Bluetooth speaker from YouTube. And here's that, and this is vinyl 2. Now this is 5 records of the concert in order, and it's spread out pretty good. Like I said, the vinyl's dead quiet. I had no issues with the vinyl, no warps, anything like that. I'll show you one of the records. It comes in these inner cases, and what I did was I put in my own polyline sleeves. These are import sleeves that John got me. Usually these are import records. I believe this is a EU pressing, and here's the and these are colored. The liner, the labels are different colors, and I went over those in the unboxing. So overall, my criticisms are no liner notes, no time. There's no time on each track, so we don't know if this is an 8-minute version of what is now and never should be, or a 5-minute version or a 10-minute version. By looking at it. Just for me, that's important. I like to have that stuff at my fingertips. I don't want to have to go to the web and look it up on Wikipedia or the Black Crowes or the Jimmy Page website to get information like that. But overall, 36 tracks, 16 not released until this 6-record box set came out. So my criticisms are from listening to the original CD. I don't have the 3 CD, but I have the original 2 CD. And then, like I said, I listened to various tracks today on YouTube via Bluetooth. So I had pretty good sound. And I believe that what I'm not crazy about, basically, is that Shirley, who remixed this record and remastered it, whatever, kind of suppressed the drums. The drums don't sound like they did on the CD in most cases, and I'll talk about where the drums sound good even on this, out of this box set at the end, which was very revealing because I did a few tests. I listened to it a few times. I listened to this record, I would say, once and a half. I was playing different tracks. I listened to it. I watched it on YouTube to see how the lineup was lined up. Basically, what you got was the singer, Jimmy Page, Rich Robinson, guitar at the end, keyboards behind the bass player, drummer, keyboards, and then the other guitar player. So that's kind of the way it was imaged on the video. The guitars on this remastered are just excellent. When you hear Page take off, Page just rocks, and the other guitar players, the 2 guitar players, Rich and the other guitar player for the Black Crowes, are just in sync. How they could play so much in sync and so effortlessly play these Zeppelin and Black Crow tunes are just amazing. Vocals are right out front, good sound stage with the vocals. When the keyboards come in on certain tracks, like Your Time Is Gonna Come, keyboard is just exquisite. The organ keyboard, also In the Light, the organ comes out. And then we have Chris Robinson playing the harp as well, playing the harp, and that's just great because that sounds like an orchestra. So that aspect of it is great. I do think that there's not a lot of air between each individual musician. It's kind of dense. It's kind of after 3 or 4 tracks, everything starts, for me, on my system. This is just my opinion. I'm just letting it out there. Like I said, I'm not in love with this recording. I'm glad I have it. I'm not sorry I bought it, and I'm going to convey that in part of this review. But I think that the instruments, guitars are excellent, vocals are excellent. Drummer is kind of weak. Drummer is basically suppressed a lot. You don't hear that. You're not going to hear John Bonham, but you want to hear some aggressive drums for these songs. And in the originals, and on what I listened to on YouTube through a Bluetooth vinyl, YouTube on Bluetooth, to me, the drums are better. And I will show you a good way to compare based on this set when I get to that. So overall, I think that the mix is good for guitars. It really accentuates the guitars, accentuates the organ. It's just really well done. But for some reason, it sounds compressed. And I mean, not like a digital compression. It's the dynamics are there in a way, but still everything seems to be like pushed in behind the singer. Bass and drums are kind of like basically mixed out. They're kind of mixed out of this. Now, as far as the guitars go, for what I can imagine and what I saw when I watched the video, most of the Zeppelin tracks, except for one which I wrote down, most of the Zeppelin tracks, Page comes out, does the main guitar riff for the beginning, goes into a solo. The boys from the Black Crowes, Rich and the other guitar player, which I have to get his name here, that would be Audrey Freed, or I think it's Audrey Freed. Keyboards was Eddie and Greg, and of course the drummer we all know is Gorman, who gets a lot of love. The people out there really love his drums, and he was taken out of this mix, totally out of the concert mix. So you have that lineup, and that's pretty consistent with the record. If you're not watching the video, it's very hard to distinguish who's. You could tell Page a lot of times, but then there's some songs, the Rich Robinson sounds like Page, or vice versa. I even think they switch guitars because there's a couple of tracks where you'll hear a slide. They'll play slide guitar on In My Time of Dying. Jimmy Page plays a really nice slide. He also Just Can't Be Satisfied plays a nice slide. They also do tracks on here which are standout blues tracks like a B.B. King, and those weren't on the original mix. So they're on this album, which is great. The Lemon song, you get a nice gong, but it's kind of still suppressed from the drummer, Gorman. In the Light, you have the great organ. You have vocal help from Rich Robinson. Rich is helped by his brother, or Chris is helped by his brother on some vocals. And another criticism of this record is that there's no dialogue, as far as I remember, except for a few tracks from the vocalist. He doesn't introduce the tracks. He doesn't talk in between. There's no banter. I know on some of the live tracks I watch, he actually talks. They do a really nice Oh Well, which starts off, the lead guitar player is not Jimmy Page. The lead guitar player, I believe, is Rich Robinson. He does a great job, and then Page takes over. So that's basically it. On that particular track, they all had a solo. The three guitar players had a solo. And I want to say that they really did a great job in communicating and figuring out, arranging these tracks, because the guitars are basically playing in sync. Nobody's stepping on anybody's toes. There's not a lot of back and forth, guitar battling that you would see in some blues outfits. But overall, guitars sound great. I really think that it sounds compressed as far as the drums and maybe some of the bass. Organ sounds good. Harp sounds good. Vocals are good. But it does get tedious because, like I said, there's a compression there, and it does fatigue you. It's not an open air concert. It's not Humble Pie live at the Fillmore live or live at Leeds, where you could basically, even you can see the separation. There's no separation here. I don't know what this was recorded on originally. Obviously, it was done in the year 1999, which the technology was great then. Later on, this one, 2025, remastered, remixed, and produced by Shirley. So that's basically it. And how I got the drums in my head is I started out listening to the sixth album, which the sixth album is called the Soundcheck album. And the Soundcheck album, I thought sounded great. I listened to that Soundcheck album first, so I was pretty psyched. Custard Pie, You Shook Me, The Lemon Song, Side B, 10 Years Gone, and a Big Jam, where they jam, right? But the drums on Custard Pie are basically more in your face than the drums on Custard Pie for the concert. So I constantly use that as a dynamic to check my theory about the drums. And then when I listen to the CD, when I listen to stuff on YouTube, on Bluetooth, I knew that. So my overall assessment is could have had a better booklet, could have had a booklet, no booklet, could have had credits, could have had time, could have had a poly-lined inner sleeve, because if you don't take those records out of that sleeve and put them into a poly or a rice sleeve like a MoFi, you're going to scuff those records. Those records are really dense. There's not a lot of dead wax, so they're really compressed, which is good because there's virtually no inner groove noise on this record. My records are flawless. Sound-wise, jumps out at you, but like I said, I feel that they were compressed. I feel that the drums were downplayed. And how do I know that? I listened to the Soundcheck album. This album, Soundcheck album. When you listen to the Soundcheck album first, you're going to be going, this is the greatest thing, man. This sounds like an audiophile live recording. But then when you go to the rest of the 5 albums with the concert footage and the concert tracks, rather, the drums are not there. The drums are there in certain aspects. Of course, they're there. You don't hear any hi-hat. You don't hear any cymbals. The highs are out. And that could just be my record player, my turntable. Still calling it a record player. But I don't think that's the case. But that's it. So I love it. I love the box set. I'm still happy I bought it. I still would recommend you get this box set. Some systems, the drums may come out more. I don't know how your system would sound. Of course, each system is different. I warmed up my tubes for about an hour, so I know they were cooking. It wasn't a problem as far as tubes weren't warmed up on my particular system. So, but like I said, just about every Zeppelin song, Jimmy Page starts out with the opening riff. The other guys take over. They all play their riffs, and then Jimmy does a solo. For the Black Crow tunes and Oh Well, which is a Fleetwood Mac tune, and some of the blues songs, some of the Black Crow guys, the Black Crow guitar players like Rich and Audley, they do the opening riffs, opening jams, and then Page kicks in. But really well orchestrated. I can't complain. Content-wise, I would give this record a 9. It's not all my favorite Zeppelin songs, but and I'm not really a big Black Crowes fan, so I wouldn't know what songs to put on that the Black Crowes play, but the songs that I did hear, I am familiar with those songs. So content, I give it a 9. As far as sound, I give it like a 7 or 8 because of the drums. Now, when you listen to the soundtrack, to Soundcheck, listen for those drums and listen for that beat. You're going to be rocking. And then when you go to the record, I think you're going to lose a little bit of that drums from compression or just being mixed out. For some reason, they Shirley emphasized the guitars, which obviously It's a guitar-driven concert. They went full tilt. There is no rest here. I'm thinking these dudes, especially Page and Robinson, the vocalist, they had to lose like 10 pounds. They were rocking. The band was rocking. But as far as that goes, the compression bothered me. Maybe it's just in my head. I don't know. So there you have it. But check it out. And like I said, the lineup was vocals, Page, Robinson on guitar at the end. And you could hear that in the separation. There's some good separation of the guitars. 3 guitars, 1 bass, organ behind the bass player, and drums. And the only criticism is I think really the drums were down, and there's maybe a compression issue because I'm sure this was all done, digitally or whatever. I know it definitely wasn't done with a tube chain or analog chain for that matter. But I would just want to say one thing at the end. If you get a chance, check out a new VCer called Rovin's Den. His name is Phil. Does a pretty good job. He actually mentioned our channel because he did an opening unboxing of this Live at the Greek box set. That's Phil from Rovin's Den. And also a cool panel I stumbled upon. I subscribe to both these channels, obviously. But the 5150 show, the 5150 show's got a pretty big channel. They've got over 11,000 subscriptions, I think, or up there somewhere, which is pretty good. And they talk about it. There's like, they have a panel set up with a Zoom, and it's really cool because they go track by track on this record. And I listened to some of it to actually prepare for this. So I want to thank those guys. The 5150 show and Rovin's Den. Check them out. And I'm not going to tell you not to buy this record. I would still pick it up. It's a great deal at $70 if it's still available. It's a great deal for your collection. And but I just think that the drums could have been put up a little bit more thunder. This is a Zeppelin themed concert. We want to get as close to what we heard when we hear Zeppelin as we possibly can. And on some of the earlier mixes, the drums were there. So it's not the drummer, it's the mix. And maybe someday they'll correct it. I doubt it, because this box set's a box set. They're not gonna say we'll take it back and we're gonna redo it because Tony's LPs or us says it. But that's my only criticism as far as the sound. A little bit of compression, maybe dense, has a dense sound to it. When you hear album after album, it's a lot of records here. You've got 5 records a concert. So that's about it. And I know I'm repeating myself, but I want to emphasize that I'm not sorry I bought this, but I am kind of disappointed in the actual remix. So thanks a lot. Hope you like and subscribe, and check out these other 2 channels I talked about, and check out a lot of VC, or subscribe to a VC channel if you watch it. If you get something out of it, you get tips, you get reviews. Check them out, and please subscribe. So thanks again. Keep rocking, and what can I say? Hey, what can I say? Thanks a lot. Appreciate it. Bye-bye.